everybody, and it's a very actually early morning when we're recording this. The Texas Longhorns fall in a heartbreaker, 37-31 to the Washington Huskies in the Sugar Bowl, which is a college football playoff semifinal, the first time Texas has ever been in the college football playoff. And here with me is KXAN sports reporter Noah Gross. Where is he? Here he is, right there. And tough one to take, Noah. I mean, gosh, Texas fans have to be pretty heartbroken over this. Texas falls behind there in the second half. Washington outscores them 10-0 there in the third quarter. The Huskies run 22 plays in the third quarter. Texas only runs 5 in the entire quarter.
Yeah.
Crazy. And then Texas mounts a comeback, kind of a bit of a furious comeback, one that kind of came out of nowhere, really, but falls in the end 13 yards short. And just kind of, Noah, from what you saw, like where did you think this game kind of turned?
Well, first I want to say I'm glad you mentioned the time we're recording this. I don't know when this is officially going up, but if we look like most Texas fans right now, it's not because we were, watching as fans, we were being objective, but we are extremely tired, and we have been here for a long time.
Extremely.
But happy to be here. What an incredible game to watch, an incredible season for Texas. Obviously, the traditional story when a team's not expected to get this far, once you take a step back, you'll be proud of the season. You'll see everything that Texas was able to build and kind of laying the foundation as they've done for years now. But right now, it's going to sting for Texas. We were talking about it. We were watching together, Billy, and, not that it was gift-wrapped and not that Washington really did anything wrong in the final 2 minutes other than that kick-catch interference, but just kind of a comedy of errors of things led to Texas getting lucky and getting a chance late that nobody thought was going to be there. The fact that it was that close is a testament to, obviously, luck, which is, as people always say, being lucky is better than good sometimes. But Ewers and Sark dialing some things up on that final drive, some incredible plays. Man, that Jordan Whittington catch, and I've seen some stuff about Jay Witt online about the talking, it's clearly so emotional and for good reason about what he's given to this university, and then that catch that wasn't and then was again to, I believe, Jaden Blue on the sideline. Everything was great for Texas until that point. And we can kind of take this into a number of angles, but something I want to talk about is kind of the play calling after that catch to Blue, I believe, is a couple plays that Texas had. Left a lot to be desired, in my opinion, from what I saw with Sark in Texas.
Yeah, you talk about that Whittington catch. He's a guy that's put his heart and soul into this program for the past 5-6 years.
Yeah.
Just a guy from Cuero, wanted to play some football a while ago, and I thought it would have been kind of poetic for him to kind of catch a game-winning touchdown of that sort of magnitude, but didn't work out that way. Not all endings are storybook, except this one for Washington. Quarterback Michael Penix Jr., the nation's best passer the entire season, statistically. Heisman Trophy runner-up. He played like a Heisman Trophy winner tonight. 430 passing yards on 29 of 38 passing. 2 touchdowns. He had 2 receivers go over 120 yards. Rome Odunze, 6 catches, 125. Jalen Polk, who had a enormous 77-yard not a touchdown reception, just a 77-yard reception. About a minute into the game, set up the game's first touchdown. He finishes with 5 catches for 122 yards, and then he had a touchdown later in the game. But it just seemed like all game, Michael Penix could do whatever he wanted to.
Extremely impressed by Penix. We saw him last year in the Alamo Bowl, obviously much different circumstances, and needless to say, things like that. But usually just, to be honest, not a fan of lefty quarterbacks and just watching them deal the ball. But, I mean, I'm completely sold on Michael Penix. Unbelievable. Texas got beat a couple times, especially in the first half. But the Texas DBs in the second half, especially once Derek Williams got back in the game after being out the first half, they didn't play that bad to me. There were just some unbelievable throws. That one down the sideline with, 3.5 minutes to go that effectively iced the game, or what we thought at the time before Washington kicked the field goal to go up 9 was unbelievable. A couple of those were just through a defender. If he threw it a yard higher or a yard lower, would have been tipped and maybe picked. And I mean, just outstanding from Penix.
Yeah, I thought that final drive, I thought that was going to happen for Texas. I mean, Dylan Johnson gets injured for Washington. What looked like a pretty bad injury. Coach Kalen DeBoer, after the game, said it's been something that's been lingering with Johnson. He's been having some foot and ankle injuries all season. He said it was an aggravation of one of those. And that saved Texas about 35 seconds in that final quarter. Instead of Washington allowing the clock to run on that fourth down where they could punt it from 50 seconds to 15, what they could have done given the play clock. That gave Texas life, and then the kick catch interference penalty, tacks on 15 more yards to that. That helped set up Jay Witt's 41-yarder, and then the Jaden Blue reception that went to review and was upheld. Just a wild final sequence that came up 13 yards short. Quinn Ewers, 24 of 43 for 318 and a touchdown. He had a very slow start today. Kind of looked like he just wasn't seeing the field very well. A lot of his passes early in the first half, he's got kind of a low release point. And it seemed like part of Washington's game plan was their defensive linemen to not get to him specifically, but to get their hands up at the line of scrimmage. And they batted down a lot of passes, especially in the first half.
You mentioned Ewers' slow start. Three things that I think really led to this Texas loss, or I think clearly could have been done better for Texas. One being, I kind of want to start with the end of the game. That pass from Ewers to Adonai Mitchell at the end of the game that would have tied the game, and they could have gone for the extra point. It was catchable, but Adonai Mitchell has really as big a catch radius as anybody in the nation, and he had to fully extend 1 foot, barely touching inbounds, and reach for that ball. And the defender made an outstanding play. I'm not taking anything away from the Washington defensive back who played that perfectly, swatted the ball away. But, Ewers has pressure in his face, which we'll get to that as well in a minute. And I'm realizing now I could talk for an hour about this. But that ball from Ewers had to be placed better in that moment. Yes, he was given a chance, Mitchell was, but on the fade earlier when Mitchell scored a touchdown, I didn't think that was a great throw, but it was because Mitchell jumped early. He was able to get there. That Mitchell had one specific place where he could kind of reach for it, and the defender got there as well. Obviously kind of easier said than done. So that's one of them. Another one that I want to get your take on, Billy, is something I want to be clear. I said at the moment before this happened, and it was not hindsight 2020 kind of thing, which obviously it is now, but I did say this early. When Texas was down 15 or 34, I'm not sure the exact score, but before they scored their last touchdown.
Right. They're down 34-21 after the Grady Gross 40-yard field goal.
So they were on 13?
Yes.
Okay,
exactly.
yeah,
they're down 13, and then after the Adonai Mitchell 1-yard kind of back shoulder fade touchdown, you wanted them to go for 2.
Well, the whole drive, I was saying, if Texas scores here, because there was, how many, they scored with what, 5.5, 6 minutes?
7:23 left.
The score was 7:23 left. I said, I really think Texas should go for 2. I don't think there's much benefit in just kicking the extra point, because that made it 34-27, correct?
Right, so it would have been down 7.
Yes. And an extra, going for 2 would have allowed them to be within 8 if Washington kicked a field goal, which of course they did. And I know Texas had to kick a field goal their next time down on the field, but they would have gone for it on 4th down. They would have treated that drive incredibly differently. And yes, Texas had that chance late in the game, but it may not have been up to that. So I think Texas should have gone for 2 in that moment, where if you miss the 2-point conversion and Washington doesn't score, you're still down 7. If you get the game-tying touchdown, you can just send it to overtime. So I think that was a mistake for Texas, something that I don't know if Sark was asked about post-game. And then, and I know I'm kind of saying this in a lot of directions, you can kind of pick which one to bounce off of. The offensive line, to me, Texas offensive line, did Washington win the Joe Moore Award for Best Offensive Line?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, so Texas talked a lot about that before the season. That was something that they wanted to do with Christian Jones, veteran and company, really returning all the starters. But they kind of left some things to be desired, to say the least. Obviously, a pre-snap penalty to start the game on both offense and defense for Texas. But even on that last play, DJ Campbell, the right guard, got beat. Christian Jones got a holding call early in the game and got beat a number of times. So to me specifically, it was the right side of the offensive line. because so much is made about Texas's great defensive line, and if Washington can handle them, but Texas's offensive line kind of struggled to me. So I know I said a lot of things. Take it in any direction you want.
Well, there's a sequence where I think Jones got beat on a pass rush by Braylon Trice, who had a just tremendous football game. The guy was a game wrecker. And then he had a holding penalty called on him like in succession. So that was, Christians, he's been better than that through parts of the season. But there were times, Noah, that I really felt like Texas's offensive line got overwhelmed. And that's not something that we're used to seeing. I don't know Trice, he had 3 of Washington's 5 tackles for loss. He had both their quarterback sacks. I had a forced fumble. And it seemed like the stat sheet only has him for 5 tackles, but it seemed like he had 15. He was everywhere.
He was affecting a lot of plays.
But it's just, man, there are times where it didn't look like the Texas O-line that we had been accustomed to seeing all season.
Yeah, and a couple more things. One was, this is Texas's first college football playoff game. At times, it really did look like it. As we said earlier, pre-snap penalty to start their first offensive play and play on defense. A lot of miscommunications on the back end defensively. And Texas was really, especially in the second half once Derek Williams came in, they were starting 3 freshmen at Derek Williams, Malik Muhammad, and Anthony Hill as well. I know they were rotating guys, but those 3 guys were on the field for the first play of the second half. So there's some young guys in there, so there were some miscommunications. But also on offense, that drive to set up, it was either the field goal or Texas's last touchdown. The first 2 plays of it were to Ewers to JT Sanders when he wasn't even looking yet. So there was a lot of plays like that, some pre-snap stuff that Sark did mention some anxiousness, pre-snap stuff, easy for me to say, post-game. So that was a bit of an issue for me. Also, I don't know if he was asked about this, what was going on with the return game, with Keelan Robinson being back there with what was clearly an issue with his hand and wrist. It looked like a broken hand or something.
He had a club taped to his hand, basically.
And he was still returning kicks starting in the second half. Jaden Blue returned him originally and looked great, so I don't know why he was taken away from that. And then Jordan Whittington, who's obviously an incredible player, done a lot of things for this Texas program, but to me he's more of a possession receiver traditionally, not an explosive returner. He was put back there late when Texas kind of really needed an explosive return. So I don't know if there was something going on with Worthy there, but the return game was just kind of all over the place tonight, I guess yesterday.
Yeah, and it's a facet of the game where Texas has been great all season, and so it was kind of weird to see those adjustments. A few more numbers here. Texas penalized 10 times for 66 yards. Washington 5 for 38. Washington came into the game as the second most penalized team in FBS. They were averaging almost 8 penalties a game, around 70 yards or so, but they were able to somewhat clean it up for this one. Texas loses 2 fumbles. They fumble 4 times, lose 2 of them. Not ideal.
Yeah, and those were both huge fumbles in the second half, and both from younger running backs.
Yeah, but in the end, Washington only scores 3 points off those turnovers, so, kind of comes out in the wash a little bit.
But still, Baxter the first one?
It just takes possessions away.
For sure, and Texas had momentum, and I think the second one was Jaden Blue.
It was Blue when he ran into Gunnar Helm.
Yeah.
Which I thought was just a weird kind of sequence, a little friendly fire type fumble.
For sure, but those were huge. And like we said, some rookie mistakes for a lot of the younger guys for Texas. But if I can kind of spin this one more way, Billy, to me, at the end of the day, this boils down to Texas made this incredible comeback. They got momentum and were able to get some success late against that Washington defense. But you don't want to find yourself in that hole like that where you have to score 2 touchdowns and hold an explosive offense to that. So it was those issues in the first half that we've talked about, some pre-snap stuff, some miscommunications on defense, not even to get things going on offense, and especially on offense. They were running the ball so effectively. Sark has talked so much about scripting the first 40 plays, and he's told us on a media availability on a Monday how a couple plays in he'll throw that out and just kind of get the feel of the game. Well, to me, the feel of the game was clear as day. Run the football and keep getting it to your running backs. And I know people are going to say, you have Adonai Mitchell didn't catch enough passes. There was not enough to Xavier Worthy, which, true, at some point you got to force the ball to the most talented players in your team. But to not run the ball when it was clearly what they needed to do early in the game and it was working so successfully was different to me. And I think this was said online as well. I'm sure it's been said a number of times. But, man, Jonathan Brooks would have been a huge asset for Texas in that Sugar Bowl.
Oh, absolutely. When you talk about the run game, Texas averaged 6.4 yards a carry. Yeah, 180 yards on 28 attempts, 3 touchdowns. One of those coming from Byron Murphy.
Yeah.
In the jumbo package. That's always fun.
Please go watch Tavondre Sweat block on that play, by the way. Very fun. Just 10 yards down the field.
Love it. C.J. Baxter, 9 carries, 64 yards and a tutty. Jaden Blue, 9 carries, 59 yards and a touchdown. I mean, you do want to run the ball, but at the same time, Texas was playing from behind most of the game. So it's one of those things, like it's maybe 6 one way, half a dozen the other, but trying to figure out. And you mentioned forcing the ball to your best guys. Between the two of them, Mitchell and Worthy, 19 targets, 6 receptions.
Yeah, I mean, 13 of those to Mitchell, which, I mean, he was clearly frustrated. Before he caught his touchdown pass, that fade, which I am, if not number one, top 5 of fade haters. I'm not a fan of that play, but I guess when you got a guy like Adonai Mitchell, you can throw it up to him and it'll work. Before that play, he was clearly frustrated. ESPN was able to get video of him with their 10,000 cameras there and show the replay of him looking to the sideline, basically saying, "Get me the ball." And the next play, they said, "Okay," and they threw it to him, and it worked. So just kind of
obliged.
Just kind of inefficient with him. His stat line reminds me of a lot of Worthy games last year. Remember when Worthy would have like 15 targets
and like 3 or 4 catches?
Yeah, and I think the Oklahoma State game last year was a great or bad example. That Washington last year as well, though some of that was because of that one big Worthy drop. So it wasn't there on offense. The communication and chemistry between the Washington passing game and Penix's pinpoint accuracy, knowing exactly where his receiver was going to be in these breaks and things like that, relative to Texas's, was so stark. It was just so evident in this game. Another one of those big ones, and this actually was huge, when Texas kicked that last field goal to cut it to 6 at that point. They were trying to score a touchdown, of course, and it turns out if they score that touchdown, you don't know exactly how things would have gone. They probably would have gone differently, but a field goal would have made things totally different. One of those plays was Ewers to Worthy in the end zone, and excuse me, late. We've been up for a while here. Ewers threw it to Worthy early, and it kind of was behind him. And to me, it just looked like an early bad pass. But Greg McElroy, who obviously knows football better than I do, said it was a miscommunication, which, again, how are you having miscommunications at that point of the game when you've been together for 2 years and this is your 13th or 14th game this season? So just moments like that Washington was able to excel because they have that kind of camaraderie, and Texas kind of faltered against the Huskies.
And what I find just almost impossible, it's not impossible because it is possible because it happened. Washington has won 10 straight games by 10 points or fewer.
It's unbelievable.
Like how?
Yeah.
How do you do that? Like, I mean, that's like going through like a full like baseball season and winning like 20 games by a run.
Yeah,
that is absurd.
Texas has won a lot of close games. Sark talked about that post-game, their resiliency, their ability to finish. So, something's got to give when these two teams meet. Because you think about all the close games Texas played. I know a couple of those are the exception late in the season, blowing out Oklahoma State and Texas Tech. But the win over Houston to hold on. I know that Texas fans didn't really want that one to be close. But the win over Houston, the win over TCU, both of those. Iowa State was close for a while as well. Kansas State, of course. So both these teams have been able to do that. That's why they got to this point. Heck, every team in the college football playoff had a bunch of close games, with the exception of Georgia, who didn't even make it, right? Michigan almost lost to Maryland on the road. They almost lost to Ohio State as well. Alabama had that Gravedigger play against Auburn. So we kind of knew all these games were going to be close, right? I think Alabama was 2-point underdog. Texas was a 4-point favorite. And they all came down to the final play. So the games delivered was just about which teams finished. Crazy day of football, that's for sure.
Yeah. That's for sure. So in summation, tough one for the Longhorns. They lose the Sugar Bowl CFP semifinal 37-31 to Washington. The Huskies will move on, continue their undefeated season at 14-0. They're going to play the Michigan Wolverines, overtime winners over the Alabama Crimson Tide in the Rose Bowl, which is the other CFP semifinal. Those two will meet January 8th, so next Monday, at NRG Stadium in Houston. I was kind of wanting a trip to Houston. I'll be honest. I wanted to go watch that game, but
maybe next year.
Just didn't work out. Yeah, maybe next year. Texas should have a boatload of talent coming back. They've got a lot of young guys. They've got a lot of good recruits coming up. Their recruiting class, I believe, the 2024 class is ranked number 3 by 24/7 Sports, and it's not technically done yet. Just the early signing period is over. They'll have another round of signing coming up in February, so they could add to the recruiting class. And they've got a ton of talent they're developing. It sounded to me like Quinn Ewers was going to come back after he said that he hadn't decided on it earlier in the week. By the way, he talked in the press conference. It was a lot of words leaning toward him coming back for a third season. So we'll see. And until then, I guess it's basketball season now, right? Officially?
Yeah, but I mean, crazy. I feel like a player after the game saying, "Well, it hasn't really hit me yet."
Right.
Just still balancing the emotions of it all. But yeah, I mean, Texas hoops opens conference play this week, so I guess we'll be doing Kegs and lives about that coming up.
We will be, and we hope you watch too, like you did this one. Thank you so much for watching. For Noah Gross, I'm Billy Gates, and we'll talk to you again soon.